Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you an OP Bloodhound's Fang arcane bleed build. So this is going to be focusing on the arcane aspect of this weapon, which is going to stack up bleed a bunch. We're still going to have a good amount of dexterity though, so with this build I'll be going over the full leveling guide. This is at level 150 with 50 vigor, 20 mind, 36 endurance, 18 strength to wield this weapon, 40 dexterity, 15 faith, and 45 arcane. We get a +5 to our dexterity from our Millicent's prosthesis. I'll go over the rest of this build after I take care of this Albanaric. So one of the ways that we want to focus on dealing damage is using our weapon art. So we get this dash attack, and then if you press R2 you can follow it up with that attack there, dealing a good amount of damage. We weren't even buffed up, but if you buff you'll be able to deal a ton of damage with this. So we got Bloodhound's Finesse there, level 150 build, and we want to make sure that we get at least 56 poise and medium roll. So I went with the white mask, the blue silver mailed armor, Bulgo gauntlets, and Lionel's greaves. You can pick whatever, but just make sure you're able to medium roll. I also have Morgoth's cursed sword in the offhand. This isn't required, but we can add in some jump aspects to this build. I'm using the Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman, the Shard of Alexander to boost damage in your skills, Millicent's prosthesis to raise our dexterity, which is going to boost our damage, but also give us more damage on successive attacks, and then the Lord of Blood's Exaltation. If you don't have one of these, you can swap them out, but Lord of Blood's Exaltation and Weight Mask actually stack very well together, because they're going to give us extra damage after we trigger a bleed loss, which we haven't been able to do yet, but typically we want to start with something like Flame Grab Me Strength, and then we can apply Blood Flame Blade to our weapon. That makes this very crazy, because we can do a ton of damage with both of those, adding in extra damage riders. So that's just a normal attack there, 860 damage, pretty strong. If we go with a heavy attack, we almost take them out, and if we had the bleed build up stacked, we'd be able to one-shot them. So we're likely not going to trigger any blood loss without doing some extra steps, but yeah, this build is best used as like a dexterity base. You want to move around a lot and keep safe, so using this can actually be a good dodge. So you can go in with a dodge like this and then follow it up with that attack there to give yourself a bit of oh, we got a knockdown there. Give yourself a bit of movement away from the target. So lots of different ways we can go about doing this. I'll show you another way that we can approach this, so we'll just go back here to reset the enemies. This is a pretty versatile build. So we can't change the Asher War on this, but we can use different types of greases to apply different types of damage. So we could potentially go with something like frostbite grease if you want to deal a bit of frostbite damage, which I think actually works very well alongside this, because typically enemies can get that extra 10% damage built off of that. But another way we can start combat is with Swarm of Flies. This will ensure that we trigger that blood loss build up. So you can start with that and then do Flame Grab Me Strength. It doesn't last a whole lot of time, but those will trigger bleed build up, and then we can follow it up with our attacks. So this build gets quite strong and very versatile against a number of different enemies. So we're able to one-shot now 1956. That's pretty good. Typically, if you're not fighting a boss, the best way to apply bleed will be with our blood flies there, the Swarm of Flies. So I would recommend using that quite frequently, because that's just a little extra damage. It gives you a 30 extra damage between the extra bleeds buildup that we get, as well as Flame Grab Me Strength extra damage, which is an extra 20% there. Just gotta watch out not get taken out by the Albanarics. But typically we want to be positioned so that we're facing directly towards the enemy there, so we can follow up with these attacks here. So L2 plus R2, just continually spam that basically, and you're able to take down most bosses in Elden Ring, because these two things go together very well. So you can see there the range on that R2 attack is quite good, and you can delay it a little bit. So if you were to miss with this attack here, so if you, let's say, just miss there, you can sometimes get them with that, the second follow-up attack. So yeah, not all hope is lost if you do miss your attack. You can see there you can get a nice double attack off, but we can go with jump attacks too. That's another way this build does shine, because you can power stance this with Morgoth's greatsword pretty effectively, because of the bleed buildup that both of these swords deal, and their attacks come out really quick like that. So if you just press L1, you'll be able to get a few attacks off. But the best way to do this is with changing this out for the Claw Talisman, and then equipping. This is going to reduce our armor class, or reduce our poise there. But if you go with the Raptor's Black Feathers, or one of the new DLC Gravebird ones, we'll get extra jump attack damage. So 1700. We'll just be one-shotting pretty much. Oh, we didn't take that one in one shot. We don't even have our buffs up yet either, so no Flame Granby Strength, no Bleed buff. You can also even go with like a Yuji Katana in the offhand and put Seppuku on it to be able to apply bleed to your attacks. So that is another option, but overall, the Bloodhound's Fang is very versatile. Use your greases, use Blood Flame Blade, and you'll have a really good time. Start with Swarm of Flies to trigger the bleed buildup, and then you'll be able to deal a ton of damage. So that is it. Bloodhound's Fang in Elden Ring. If you found this video useful, please hit the subscribe button below, and I'll see you all in the next video.